3 ways that I almost ended my construction business in the very beginning. And most first-time business owners are making the exact same mistakes without even knowing it. I'm laying out 3 today with no filter. I run a 7-figure construction business now, but in my first year, I made all the same mistakes that ends 90% of all businesses. Before I get into my mistakes, I want to explain why I'm making this video. I've personally been in business for over 20 and a half years with my own business, but I also adopted my grandfather and father's business, which started in 1974. I have a successful business, but I don't talk about all of the failures, especially in the first year. Not because I'm hiding anything, but because the things that almost ended the entire business is embarrassing, which can be a little bit difficult to be able to explain. Not because I was unlucky. The mistakes definitely wasn't unforeseeable. They were completely avoidable. But I did them anyway. I'm making this video today because I do talk to people who are starting out fresh. And I see them walking into the 3 exact same steps that I just gave. If even just one person could watch this video and then avoid the same mistakes that I did, it's worth it. I personally want to share my experiences out there with the world because I have a little feeling right here. It would make my soul sing if I could see others be able to achieve the same success that I have been able to in life. My first mistake: underbidding jobs absolutely sucks. It sounds obvious in hindsight, but when you're starting from zero, nobody knows who you are. There's a logic that feels reasonable in the moment. The logic goes like this: I don't have a reputation yet. The only thing that I can compete on is price, right? So I'll be the cheapest one, I'll get the work, and I'll build my reputation, and then raise my rates once I have built a name for myself. That logic is wrong, and it is going to cost you more than you initially realize. Here's what actually happens to you when you underbid a job. You get the job, and that feels good. You show up and you do the work. And then, once you're finished, you run the numbers and then you barely realize you just squeaked by, broke even. And then you do it all over again because you have no money to be able to pay your bills with. The thing about underbidding your job is it just doesn't hurt your bank account. It attracts the wrong type of customers. The customers who hire and are loyal to just price, that's it, not to quality. And the second that somebody else, unlicensed, maybe speaks English, maybe doesn't, comes along, you're out. And then you have a client who doesn't even value what you do. They only value the bottom dollar of the number that's on the quote. And you can't even raise your prices even a little bit on those clients, and if you do, they're gone. What I eventually figured out is that price is a signal. When you're cheap, people think that you're just inexperienced, desperate, or cutting corners. And it makes sense because where was the money to do the job properly? A lot of customers are going to walk right past that lowest bid because it doesn't feel right. Change what the job is worth, and if you don't get it, at least you have the data. And if you do get the job, you have the margin now to do the job properly. Something that you can be proud of. Take before and after pictures and post it on social media. Here's one of many true stories that I have. In the very, very, very beginning, I was going around and I was putting these little flyers on new construction houses being built, and rarely did it work. I was sitting there and I would put it on there, lowest price guaranteed and all kinds of stuff like that. And I would run into a general contractor who thinks he knows his job better than I know mine. He's like, oh, only put AC just on the top level because it's like two stories and then it's a basement. And it'll take care of the entire house because I'm putting in R60 in the house, 6-0. I'm putting in concrete walls that are like 2 feet thick, all this sort of stuff. It's gonna be so well insulated. It only needs a super tiny bit of air conditioning. Then I get the job and I did everything to his satisfaction. It passed inspection and everything. And you know what? Then he turned it all around on me. It was my fault. Like, what happened to all the explanations you gave? Like about R60 and 2-foot thick walls of concrete and all this other stuff. He blamed everything on me and then went and hired a different contractor to come in behind me and put in an entirely new air conditioning system. Then he calls me back 2 years later and he wants me to come and fix it, thinking I'm just going to do free labor, free parts, free everything. And I was like, what? What happened? Like, didn't you like my work and stuff? He's like, He didn't realize what he had done to himself, the situation he put himself in. And there was no good reason to this. What had happened in the situation is the guy never paid me the full price of what he owed me. Also, inevitably, there was those good jobs when I started actually putting up the price. It wasn't going to go to the bottom of the barrel and have all of the customer complaints anymore. Man, sometimes I was getting 3 out of 10 jobs coming back and majorly complaining about something. This wasn't done right. I don't like that. I don't like this. And I was like, what'd you expect? You went and got 6 bids and you picked the absolute cheapest of the cheapest of the cheapest. And then you said, no, you have to cut your prices even further, Scott. Okay, well, can I do this and can I do that? And they said, yes, I'm gonna blame you for everything. And then now you, making such tiny little margins, you have to then come and spend all this money to come back and fix all of it. But then there was those good jobs that I had where I would make $1,600 profit off, let's say, a $5,000 job, and all the money just kept getting reinvested and reinvested and reinvested back into the business. And I'd buy one of them big, DeWalt hammer drills. Mistake number 1 was about money, but mistake number 2 is about people. And people mistakes are more expensive. Mistake 2, I hired on availability, but not ability, or a background check, or trustworthiness. When you're growing, and you have to have somebody fill the spot, the demand to fill your needed employee spot overwhelms everything else. You need somebody to show up at the job site and can be there tomorrow. So you take whoever's available. And I had done this more than once. I had hired a family member and it didn't take them very long before straight up they just abandoned the job. Here's what I look for now that I wasn't looking for back then when I interview people. I certainly do look for availability. I certainly do look for somebody who can pass a drug test and also a background test. I'm not looking for perfection. I'm not perfect. I know the customers aren't perfect, and I know the employees aren't perfect either. But let's at least have some kind of standard here. I think something else that just gets kind of overlooked, not said enough. If somebody comes in and they look like a druggie, they probably are. And if they look like a cowboy, they probably are. Here's what the wrong hire actually costs you. It's not just the wage. It's not the job that they mess up. It's the customer who is irate for one of different reasons, and they call you and they say, I'm never going to use you again, and I'm going to tell everybody I know. And on top of that, even if the customer will let you come back and then fix it, they still won't even call you. And obviously it should have been done right the first time. And especially small businesses don't have great margin for bad jobs and bad publicity. The bad reputation can definitely follow you longer than you may imagine. Something additionally that I do when I'm trying to hire somebody, I like to just have chit chat with them. Do I think that they're going to fit inside of my company's culture? Do I suppose that I will even like them, or that they'll even like me, or that we'll even get along? We even have the same interests? All this is just casual small stuff. but it really sincerely can make the difference between copacetic friends all working towards a particular same goal, or people just arguing over stupid stuff. Something that I eventually learned is that a slow hire is better than a fast hire under desperation. Being short-staffed for a few weeks is survivable. Hiring the wrong guy and putting him on the wrong job and messing things up bad and losing clients is not acceptable. Take your time. Ask questions that are personally important to you. Don't fill the seat until you have the right guy or girl. Mistake 3 is the one I've never talked about publicly. Mistake 3. I'm going to talk to you about debt. Everybody can take on debt, but I will always say this for the rest of my life. Never, 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 ever, under any circumstances, never, ever take a high interest loan. There's all these loan sharks that are always constantly hitting up me and other business owners all across the nation, constantly. Texts, phone calls, auto phone calls, just telemarketers, whatever. Stay away from them. Those high interest loans of 38, 32, 45% or whatever it is can destroy your business. It isn't the end of the world if you had to lay somebody off, but a 45% interest rate might kill your business and the financial security for your family in the future. Why I'm personally talking about this right now is because everybody starting their own business is thinking, oh, all these threats are external threats. They ain't gonna affect me. The war in Iran, the war in Iraq, the war in Ukraine, whatever. It doesn't affect me. But most of the time, what destroys your business is the internal decisions that you make. And all the external stuff does have an impact. When we saw this whole war with Iran happen and we seen the gas prices double, how is that not affecting your customer that then turns around and affects you? There has been hundreds of times, I would estimate, where I've nearly gone out of business. And I don't say that out of ego, ha ha ha. I say that because when you sit there and look at what's publicly available and they say 90% of all businesses fail within the first 10 years or so, whether it be lawsuits or bad employees or bad loans or not doing all the rules correctly, or you just get burned out. I mean, there's so many things that could destroy your business. But on the third point, there are those loan officers out there that aren't banks, but they're not those loan sharks either. There's those people that are like brokers that are in the middle. If you need people that you can't find, I can certainly point people, give you contacts and so forth, put you and them together. Work with those companies, even if they're going to charge you 18% interest. Mistake 3 and all the others certainly did teach me a lot about how to appropriately run a business. The business only goes as far as the leader. Here's what nobody told me. Year 1 isn't about building a business. It's about finding out if you are somebody who can run a business. And those are two different things. You will learn more about yourself running your own business within 1 year versus working for somebody else for 10 years. You will find out so much, how much pressure, how much risk tolerance, and so many other things about yourself, including if you can make decisions under pressure without having all of the facts and the decision has to be made now. You find out who you are when nobody's watching. And absolutely everything's against you, nothing's working out. If you're in the beginning of your business and you're struggling, that's normal. It's not a sign that you're failing. The ones who make it aren't the ones who had it easy. They're the ones who built it irregardless of how difficult it was. Did you subscribe yet? You need to subscribe right now. I do full breakdowns like this quite often. And if you're not subscribed, you're definitely going to miss out. Business moves so fast from quarter to quarter, year to year. When my grandpa was in business, they now say that we experiencing 10 years of change in 1 year of 10 years of my grandpa in the construction industry. Things move fast, and we need to be able to help each other and encourage each other and support each other and learn each other's secrets or ways to be able to cope with this challenge or that challenge. And wouldn't it also be nice to have somebody who will be able to help warn you, don't do this, don't do that. I read and respond to every comment. Continue to follow my story to be able to find out what works and what doesn't, where we wasted our money on advertising and what actually worked. Have faith in yourself. You can do it.